Welcome back to your own Reviews channel. In this video we will be reviewing an action thriller movie from year 2011 named The Mechanic. There will be spoilers, so sit back and enjoy. The movie starts with a man landing at a private hangar and making his way to his mansion with his armed guard. After changing into his swimwear, he jumps into his private pool for a swim. While swimming, he notices his watch at the bottom of the pool and swims down to retrieve it. Suddenly, an unknown man grabs him and holds him underwater until he perishes. The assassin, Arthur Bishop, takes advantage of the chaos to escape through a careful route to a nearby river. Later, Bishop meets with his friend and mentor, Harry McKenna, to discuss their work in Colombia and Harry's son, Steve McKenna, before parting ways. Upon returning home, Bishop eagerly searches for his new contract, only to be shocked by its contents. He is tasked with killing Harry. Doubtful of the contract's accuracy, Bishop contacts his employer to confirm its legitimacy. Once his suspicions are confirmed, he arranges a face-to-face meeting with Dean. During their meeting, Dean reveals the unfortunate outcome of a mission in South Africa, where assassins from their agency were killed. Dean discloses that only he and Harry were aware of the mission, and that Harry had been bribed for the contract details. Reluctantly, Bishop carries out the contract, making it appear as a carjacking gone wrong. At Harry's gravesite, Bishop unexpectedly encounters Steve, Harry's son. Steve expresses his desire for revenge, vowing to hunt down and kill any carjacker he comes across. Intrigued by Steve's potential, Bishop secretly follows him and intervenes when Steve confronts a carjacker. Recognizing Steve's raw talent, Bishop decides to train him as a mechanic. As part of his training, Bishop advises Steve to take a chihuahua with him to a coffee shop every day at the same time. As Steve settles into his routine, Bishop gradually intensifies his training by involving him in a contract, providing a first-hand experience of the profession. After successfully executing the target by strangulation and staging it as an autoerotic asphyxiation accident, Bishop reveals to Steve the meticulous planning that went into the assassination. Bishop informs Steve that he has his own contract to fulfill. The target is a mechanic named Burke, who frequents the same coffee shop as Steve. Bishop reveals that Burke's weaknesses are his interest in young men and small dogs, like the chihuahua they adopted. Instead of following Bishop's instructions to drug Burke, Steve decides to go with him to his apartment. When Burke starts undressing, Steve tries to strangle him with a belt, just like Bishop had done before. After a struggle, Steve manages to kill Burke. Later, Dean contacts Bishop and expresses his disapproval of using Steve for the Burke contract. Bishop defends himself, stating that he received the contract through Harry, not Dean. Angry at Bishop's response, Dean warns him that he's being closely monitored. Bishop is then given a new contract to eliminate the leader of a cult-like church, Andrew Vaughn. Bishop and Steve plan to simulate a heart attack by injecting Vaughn with adrenaline, which would unknowingly lead to a fatal second dose administered by paramedics. However, their plan is disrupted when a doctor arrives and administers ketamine to Vaughn. Realizing that the adrenaline overdose won't work with ketamine, they quickly suffocate Vaughn instead. When Vaughn's guards discover the body, Bishop and Steve find themselves in a shootout. As the building is evacuated, Bishop and Steve manage to slip away and decide to fly home separately. At the airport, Bishop spots one of the men he thought was dead from the South African mission. He confronts the man and learns that his boss, Dean, had set him up to kill Harry. Dean had orchestrated the failed mission to hide his own illegal activities. Feeling betrayed, Bishop takes out a group of mechanics who try to ambush him. He uncovers that Dean was behind the attack and rushes home, only to discover that Steve, his friend, is also under attack. Bishop guides Steve to a hidden gun, which Steve uses to defend himself. As Bishop arrives, he instructs Steve to gather supplies for their next mission while he plans to confront Dean. Steve finds his father's gun and realizes that Bishop was responsible for his father's death, not carjackers. After collaborating to eliminate Dean, they decide to head to a gas station. While en route, Bishop spots Harry's gun in Steve's jacket and realizes that Steve has uncovered the truth. Steve stops to refuel the car, but deliberately spills the gas on the ground instead of in the tank. Remaining in the truck, Bishop watches as Steve takes out Harry's gun and ignites the gas, causing an explosion that destroys Bishop's vehicle and the gas station. Steve then returns to Bishop's residence, plays a record on the turntable, and heads to the garage to take Bishop's vintage 1966 Jaguar E-Type coupe. As Steve drives away, he discovers a note on the car seat that reads, "Steve, if you're reading this then you're dead." Steve chuckles, but moments later the car explodes, killing him. Simultaneously, the record finishes playing at Bishop's house, triggering a tripwire that results in the house exploding as well. However, security footage from the gas station reveals that Bishop managed to escape from his truck just before Steve detonated it, saving himself. Bishop then hops into another truck parked by the beach and drives off. Here the movie ends. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share it with your friends and subscribe my channel.